Have you ever paused to consider how one man's vision could redefine the world? A man who dared to dream big, to push boundaries, to challenge the norms. A dreamer who believed that technology could be more than a tool, it could be an extension of ourselves. His name was Steve Jobs. His innovative ideas not only revolutionized technology, but also fundamentally changed how we interact with the world around us. This is the story of Steve Jobs. Born on February 24, 1955, in San Francisco, California, Steve Jobs' journey was anything but ordinary. The tale of this iconic dreamer begins with a twist of fate. Adopted by Clara and Paul Jobs, a young Steve found himself growing up in the heart of what would become the tech capital of the world, Mountain View, California. His father, a mechanic and a carpenter, sparked a deep interest in electronics within Steve. Paul would bring home used electronics from his workplace, and together they would tinker around in their garage, dissecting and reassembling the machines. This early exposure to the world of gadgets and gizmos ignited a fire within Steve, a fire that would eventually change the world. As he grew older, Steve's curiosity only deepened. His fascination with the intersection of technology and artistry became evident. He wasn't just interested in how things worked. He wanted to understand how to make them beautiful, functional, and user-friendly. This unique perspective would later become the cornerstone of his revolutionary approach to technology. In high school, Steve met a like-minded individual, Steve Wozniak. A friendship was born, one that would prove to be instrumental in shaping the future of technology. Both shared a passion for electronics and a vision for how it could change the world. However, Steve's journey wasn't always smooth sailing. After finishing high school, he enrolled at Reed College in Portland, Oregon. But the traditional education system couldn't contain his boundless curiosity and thirst for knowledge. Just 6 months into his course, Jobs dropped out of college. This decision may have seemed unconventional, if not downright reckless to many. But for Steve, it was the first step towards carving his own path. In his own words, he had the lightness of being a beginner again, less sure about everything. He was ready to learn, to grow, and to change the world. A college dropout, Jobs' real education was just beginning. In 1976, a 21-year-old Jobs, along with Steve Wozniak, started Apple Computers in Jobs' family garage. Two young men, barely out of their teens, ignited a spark that would change the world forever. Steve Jobs, the visionary, and Steve Wozniak, the engineering genius, were a perfect match. This dynamic duo, fueled by their shared passion for technology and innovation, set out to create something extraordinary. Their first creation, the Apple I, was a marvel of its time. It was a computer for the everyday person, not just for the tech-savvy or the affluent. Wozniak, with his technical prowess, built the hardware, while Jobs, with his keen eye for design and marketability, packaged it in a way that was both appealing and user-friendly. But the Apple I was just the beginning. Their real breakthrough came with the Apple II. Launched in 1977, the Apple II was a game-changer. It was more than just a computer, it was a statement. A bold declaration that technology was for everyone. It was a machine that could be used by students, artists, business people, and even homemakers. This was a computer that could fit into the fabric of everyday life. With the Apple II, Apple computers didn't just enter the tech industry, they revolutionized it. They challenged the status quo and redefined what a personal computer could be. This was a time when technology was largely inaccessible, intimidating, and out of reach for most people. But Apple, under the visionary leadership of Steve Jobs, tore down those barriers. The success of the Apple II propelled Apple computers to the forefront of the tech industry. It established them as a major player, a force to be reckoned with. It was the dawn of a new era, an era where technology was not just a tool, but a way of life. But life at Apple wasn't always smooth sailing. The journey was filled with challenges, setbacks, and even failures. But it was these trials and tribulations that shaped Apple and Steve Jobs into the icons they are today. In 1985, Jobs found himself ousted from the company he co-founded. A twist of fate that could have been the end of the road for many, but not for Steve Jobs. Instead, he saw it as an opportunity to explore new frontiers, to further innovate and create. In the years that followed, Jobs embarked on what we now fondly refer to as the wilderness years. But don't let the name fool you. These years were far from barren or unproductive. In fact, they were anything but. Jobs was not one to rest on his laurels or wallow in self-pity. He was a man of action, a man of vision, a man who dared to dream and had the courage to bring those dreams to life. In this period, Jobs founded Next, a computer platform development company. It was a bold move, stepping back into the world that had seemingly rejected him. Yet he did not let the past dictate his future. At Next, Jobs was free to innovate without the constraints he had previously faced at Apple. He was driven by his passion for technology and his belief in its potential to change the world. Around the same time, Jobs saw potential in a small animation studio called Pixar. He purchased it, and under his leadership, Pixar flourished, creating some of the most beloved animated films of our time. From Toy Story to Finding Nemo, Pixar's success is a testament to Jobs' foresight and his ability to nurture creativity and innovation. These wilderness years were not without their challenges. There were times of doubt, times of failure, times when it seemed like the world was against him. But Jobs persevered. He learned from his failures and used them as stepping stones towards success. So while these wilderness years may have seemed like a detour, they were, in fact, a necessary part of Jobs' journey. They shaped him, they molded him, and they prepared him for the triumphs that were yet to come. Unbeknownst to him, his greatest achievements were yet to come. In 1997, Jobs returned to Apple, which was on the brink of bankruptcy. The company he had co-founded in a garage over 2 decades prior was now gasping for breath, its future uncertain. But Steve Jobs, ever the dreamer, saw not an end, but a new beginning. Jobs understood that for Apple to survive, it had to innovate. He knew that the company needed to create products so revolutionary, so compelling, that consumers would be captivated. And so, under his leadership, Apple began its journey back from the edge. The first major step was the introduction of the iMac in 1998. With its distinctive design and user-friendly interface, the iMac was a hit. It was a clear signal to the world that Apple was back, and it was not playing by the rules. It was rewriting them. But Jobs didn't stop there. He pushed Apple to explore new frontiers. In 2001, Apple launched the iPod, a portable music player that transformed the way we listen to music. Then in 2007, Apple unveiled the iPhone, a device so revolutionary that it redefined what a phone could be. Finally, in 2010, came the iPad, another groundbreaking product that set the standard for tablet computing. Each of these products was an innovation in its own right, but together, they formed a cohesive vision of a digital lifestyle, seamlessly integrated and centered around the user. This was the vision that Jobs brought to Apple. This was the vision that saved Apple. Jobs' return to Apple was not just about saving the company. It was about pushing the boundaries of what was possible, about never settling for the status quo. It was about dreaming big and having the courage to turn those dreams into reality. Jobs had not only saved Apple, but propelled it to unprecedented heights. The company that was once on the brink of bankruptcy had become one of the most valuable and influential in the world. And at the heart of this extraordinary turnaround was Steve Jobs, the dreamer who dared to imagine a better future and then made it happen. Steve Jobs passed away on October 5, 2011, but his legacy continues to live on. He left us not just with groundbreaking products like the iPhone, the iPad, and the MacBook, but a whole new perspective on what technology could be. Jobs didn't just see technology as a tool, he saw it as an extension of ourselves, a way to express who we are and what we believe in. He created a culture of innovation, of dreaming big and pushing boundaries. He taught us that it's not enough to be better, we must strive to be different. His relentless pursuit of perfection, his unwavering belief that we can always do better, continues to motivate entrepreneurs and innovators around the world. Jobs once said, "Innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower." He was undoubtedly a leader, one who wasn't afraid to venture into the unknown, to take risks and to challenge the status quo. His impact extends beyond Apple and its products. It's in the way we approach design, the way we think about user experience, and the way we envision the future of technology. His vision, his passion, and his relentless drive have left an indelible mark on the world. And so, even in his absence, Steve Jobs continues to inspire. He continues to push us to imagine, to innovate, and to create. Steve Jobs, the dreamer who changed the world, continues to inspire us to think differently.